What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family without further ado. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Now, law number 1, it's illegal to run out of fuel on the Autobahn. As most of you probably know, the Autobahn is Germany's interstate system. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out these two videos. And when it comes to driving, there are indeed a lot of regulations that you have to follow as a driver in Germany. Like your car has to pass inspections every 2 years, called TÜV, otherwise you're not allowed to drive on the streets. You also have to have certain equipment, like a first aid kit and warning vests in your car. And in the winter, it's mandatory to have winter tires on your car. And yes, you're also obligated to always have enough gas in your tank as a driver, and if you don't and actually run out of gas on the Autobahn, you can be fined and might have to pay 25 up to 120 euros, since this is considered preventable. And in general, it's also illegal to stop or park on the Autobahn, even in the emergency lane. I mean, unless your vehicle is actually breaking down, but even then, you won't see a lot of cars just left there on the side of the Autobahn. Whereas in the US, you regularly see broken down vehicles on the side of the interstate that were just basically parked there. And of course, since most places in the US don't use radar traps to enforce speed limits, but have cops pull people over instead, you'll often also see a car that was pulled over and also a cop car behind it in the emergency lane as well.
Yeah, so we do have that, those speed thermometers. They'd be like on the side of the road, or we may have the camera light on top of the stoplight where they may flash you for going too fast. You know what I'm saying?
Mail you your
and then they'll mail it to you, and you be like, I ain't expect that.
Yeah, with the picture of you like this.
Or like this. You know, they catch you slipping. Yeah,
they will. But running out of fuel on our highway, OMG, how many people would get a fine for that?
Yeah, that's a thing. I didn't think about that being a thing, though. I didn't know that was going to be like a law where you can get fined for it. That's different. That's different.
And I have to compliment our law enforcement, because they will bring gas.
They
will bring, I mean, they'll help you get along. You know, they get a bad rep a lot of times for the bad stuff. So I gotta applaud them for the good stuff.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah.
Autobahn, that would actually be considered jeopardizing the road safety, especially since on many parts of the Autobahn there is no speed limit, so people are going crazy fast. Fun fact, apparently this also became illegal in a small town here in Ohio earlier this year, in Youngstown, which is close to Cleveland, so don't do it there either. Number 2, it's not allowed to name your baby Superman. Now this one isn't technically a law and you won't get fined for this, but fact is, and this is usually hard to believe for Americans, that in Germany you can't just give your baby any name you want. It'll have to be approved by the local Standesamt, like the civil registration office, and there are rules as to what you can and can't name your kid. I mean, of course there are rules for that. It's Germany. We pretty much have a rule for everything. Now,
so my joke, basically, I got a joke. I got you. You ready? You ready? Hey, how many names I got left? I got one. That's how it would be. Yeah, that's how it go. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen something in the headlines in the recent years. Somebody tried to name their baby something and it got denied from the birth. What'd you call it? Dang it, I went blank. From the people that approved the birth certificates and the social security card.
This is not the first time I'm hearing this, though. Like, I think we heard this before. Yeah. So we knew about this one, too, as well. The first one, not too much about the gas and laws and getting fined, but this one we knew about. Yeah.
Now, whether the name you picked for your baby will be approved or not depends on different things, such as whether it's a name that actually exists, whether it'll be a reason for bullying later on in the child's life, and sometimes they also don't accept names that aren't obviously a female or a male name, which this last one is kind of ridiculous if you ask me. Here are just some examples of names that have been rejected before. Waldmeister, Junge, which just means boy, Rosenherz, so rose heart, Bierstübe, so kind of like a beer pub, Satan, or Satan in German, McDonald's, Superman,
they like McDonald's,
Pain, Gucci, Whiskey, or the last names of politicians like Schröder, which was Germany's chancellor before Merkel, or Lenin. And since I already see all these question marks pop up in your guys' eyes, no, you won't be able to call your kid Hitler either, even though the first name Adolf is technically allowed. These rules are one of the reasons why you won't find a lot of crazy first names in Germany, and also why Germans are often very fascinated by what American celebrities name their kids. Number 3, deny the Holocaust. Now, this one doesn't necessarily fit into a list of crazy or funny laws, because I think it's neither of those. However, many people from outside of Germany and outside of Europe aren't aware of this and find it a very interesting law when they first hear about it.
It is.
It's illegal in Germany to deny the Holocaust. So you can't just say that the crimes of the Holocaust didn't happen. If you do, you can either get fined for it, or you can actually get prison time of up to 5 years. Now, I've read many comments on the internet saying that this indicates that Germany doesn't have freedom of speech. Well, that's not true. We do have freedom of speech, Meinungsfreiheit, as a fundamental right in Germany. However, freedom of speech can be limited by other general laws, by provisions for the protection of young persons, Jugendschutzgesetz, and another person's right to personal honor. Those general laws, which are like the first example of what can limit your freedom of speech, cannot be laws that just discriminate against one specific opinion. They have to be neutral and they have to protect another legal right. In this case, the right that they're protecting is the dignity of the Holocaust victims and their families, which is something that we value very, very highly in Germany, because after World War II, when the Federal Republic of Germany was founded, the very first paragraph of our constitution, the Grundgesetz, became human dignity shall be inviolable. To respect and protect it shall be the duty of all state authority. So that's why denying the Holocaust is illegal in Germany, even though we do have freedom of speech, and it's also illegal in 16 other countries. Number 4,
I feel like this is something the U.S. needs to... Come on, let's adopt that one.
Yeah, I think that would make a big difference.
It would help our general population of people get along better.
Yeah.
Because you can't deny something that happened, something that people are still dealing with, that post-traumatic slave syndrome. A lot of us are still dealing with it because of what's going on now. Look at the politicians. Look at the textbooks. Trying to rewrite our history.
Yeah, 100%.
As if we benefited from it.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to teach it as if we did.
Yeah.
You know, so
We need to adopt
think that is a really good one, man.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, you can't run from it. It's the truth.
Forbidden to mow the lawn on Sundays or play piano at midnight.
Hold on.
Germans like silence. This is something you'll notice if you're ever in Germany, especially if you come from a louder culture like the American one. Germans tend to speak pretty quietly, especially in public. And we also appreciate having some peace and quiet at home, which is why there are tons of laws and regulations about how much noise you're allowed to make and when. Sundays and public holidays have actually been defined as rest periods, Ruhezeiten, for the whole day, which means that you're not allowed to make loud noises that could disturb others. This includes mowing your lawn or using a drilling machine, for example. So if you were trying to do some renovations at home, not on Sundays. This also applies to nighttime rest periods, which usually start at 8 p.m. and sometimes even to lunch hours. The rules for the lunch hours usually vary though, depending on where in Germany you live, and some rules will even be made by the house management of your apartment building. The Federal High Court of Justice has even ruled that playing an instrument in rental apartments is only allowed at certain times, from 8 a.m. to noon and from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And even then, you can only practice for a certain amount of time. Piano players only get up to 2 hours per day, and drummers, for example, get 45 minutes in the summer and 90 minutes in the winter.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know how I feel about that one. It's like, that's something I'll have to remember, but the passion in me is like, I gotta play the piano, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm thinking about my piano lessons and how, like, we would be doing a tune and I would be stuck on this one little line for about an hour. I can't get through the whole thing. Really? Oh, that sucks.
Number 5, it's not allowed to keep urns at home. This topic doesn't really come up a lot in conversations in everyday life, fortunately, but the Germans among you may have wondered about this when watching American movies before, because in the US, it's pretty common that after a loved one dies, you take the urn home with you. I've definitely seen this in movies and shows before where either it's part of a comedic moment because someone doesn't realize that it's an urn, or, of course, it's part of a drama. Well, that's something that you won't ever see in Germany because we have a law called Friedhofszwang, cemetery compulsion, that says that any mortal remains have to be buried at a cemetery, or alternatively, after a cremation, you can have a sea burial in Germany as well. Now, in the past few years, the rules have been lifted a little in different states. In Bremen, for example, it's now allowed to spread ashes on privately owned property, but you're still not allowed to take the urn home with you. In general, there's pretty big differences when it comes to funerals and cemeteries in Germany and the US. I've actually had the topic on my list for a while, so let me know if you'd want me to talk about that more in depth at some point.
Different.
And number 6, you'll be punished for saying du to a cop. Okay, those of you who speak German probably understand this law right away, but for everyone else, du is the German word for you. Now, why would that be a problem if you use that with a cop? Because in German, just like in other languages like French or Spanish, we have a formal and an informal address. So depending on what relationship you have with the person you're talking to, you'll use a different pronoun and also a different grammar structure when you talk to them. Du is the informal pronoun for you, while capital Z is the formal one. The formal one is usually used with people who are significantly older, strangers, people of authority, or just people that you have a professional relationship with. It really depends on the specific situation, but if it's not a child or someone you're close with, you usually don't use the informal address with them until you two allow each other to do so. Now, since police are people of authority and you speak to them in a professional context, you use the formal address with them, Sie.
Z.
And if you don't, and use du with them instead, that can actually be viewed as insulting an official, Beamtenbeleidigung, because it's disrespectful and you may have to pay 600 euros for it. The actual fines are decided on a case-to-case basis, but this is one number I found. I also found that showing a cop the finger gets you up to 4,000 euros. Now, technically, insulting an official is just based on the general laws of not insulting others. There's no extra laws just about insulting officials, but I would assume that police enforce this much more than regular people do, so you should definitely be careful here. But also, I'm pretty sure that they would only enforce it if you obviously do it on purpose, and if they can tell that you're a non-native speaker and try to speak German with them and just make an honest mistake, I'm sure it's not a big deal.
I would hope.
All right, we're gonna stop it right there. Check her channel out. Definitely check her channel out. Yeah, number 6 was hard.
Yeah.
Somebody got a track record that says they wasn't behind a cop car because they called a cop dude. Yo. All right. But at the end of the day, it's about respect, and I think that's what they're leading up to, wanting to be respect and show respect and let it, generate across everyone else.
Yeah, see, it's things like that. When you're traveling on vacation, you gotta know.
Gotta know that
what to do, what not to do. Oh, I don't know. I'm stuck on that one.
But I don't see how that one slip out of our mouth. I don't see how we would just
you get
like if it's in
I don't know,
in a sentence format, or is it just like addressing them as you? Yeah, it's like, we need an example. That's what, yeah.
I don't know, y'all. But this was a cool list. We hope you guys enjoyed it with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.